Pete, you know what time it is, kid?
I do know what time it is, and it's time for, ladies and gentlemen, the old school tip of the day.
What do you got, Beef?
Oh,
we lost him. He's back.
He's back.
You got us?
What do you got, Beef?
What's that? I didn't hear you, so you're breaking up on me. Old school tip of the day, bud.
You got anything to tell them young whippersnappers out there?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'd love to. Just, as you come on a job, just stay in there, learn the job the best you can, and be safe. It's a great job still, but you got to be safe so you can enjoy your retirement at the end of your career. Believe me, I'm a very lucky man that I got a pension from the city of New York. I missed the job still. I'm out 5 years. I still miss the job, But, it's one day at a time. That's all. God bless you all. And thank you very much, for having me on this beautiful show. Awesome. Thanks, Pete. Listen to me. I'm going to give you a little old school tip of the day. You want to enjoy that pension even more? Cut the shit with the cigarette smoke. You know what I'm saying, Big man?
Look at his face. I don't think that's working.
Love you.
Still have one more thing to learn, you guys. You know what that is?
No.
Oh, I remember.
It's time for the old school tip of the day.
What do you got, Rob? Give us a quick one.
So basically what I would say is every firefighter that's active should be out there making sure that they're getting checked out by their doctor or their healthcare practitioner to know what their risks are. If you are a healthy, average-aged male with no chronic medical conditions, you'll be very good with COVID-19. You're not going to have a problem with it. You're not going to die from it, but you need to know what your risks are. If you haven't been to a doctor, you can't say that you know that you're a healthy person. Go see your doctor. The number one tip that you could give to anybody in your family, go home, make sure that everybody has been checked out so you know your risk for COVID-19. You know that you're not fall into that high-risk category, and you can be part of the solution to move our country forward and to make sure we open up safely and to make sure that nobody else dies needlessly from this illness.
Great job, kid.
Nice.
Thank you, Rob.
Let me ask you a question. When you open your walk-in closet, do you have like 82 of those white jackets hanging there?
I think it is that time, and we all know what that time it is. It is time for the old school tip of the day.
Take the floor,
sir.
What do I got? Well, I'll tell you, one of the best things I learned was when I was a young firefighter, you always wanted to be the first guy in, the first, get there before anybody else, whatever. I remember in 175 running to the building, not really paying attention to the structures, the floors, where's the fire, what exposure side. Same thing with as an officer too. You got to really, really size up, and you got to run in with a plan. You can't. I remember one time in Rescue 3, I had somebody yelling in the back. They were trapped, and I left. You know how you're supposed to take your lead on a search, left, right. I left my lead. I went for the voice. Basically, what happened to me was I was very lucky. I made it to two people in the rear. We had a roof rope rescue come over. I put the one guy on the roof rope, and we got the woman out the interior. But I'll tell you the truth. I was staying by the window there because I wasn't sure how to get this person out of there. And I remember Marty McTeague came and found us, and he did it the proper search where we took the lead and we were able to get out with the smoke. I always felt one time Connie Tinney told me, he goes, dude, you got to slow down. You're gonna get hurt. You're rushing in too much. And we had a job up in Harlem, and it was an explosion. I didn't realize the floor was gone. So it was right after he told me that I slowed down and I felt on the floor. So just before you get in full gear, size up, and always be thinking, how am I going to get out of here if things go bad? That's the best tip I can give you.
Getting out is that's the number one thing, right? Especially floor above or fire floor, of course, but floor above. You got to make sure you have a plan, and if you don't have a way out before, when it's too late, it's too late.
Is it time yet for the old school tip of the day?
You got big shoes here, brother. Let's see what you got here. I mean,
Okay, I only have 20 written down, but okay. One of my old school tips of the day, I want to talk about standpipes. And a lot of guys don't know, and a lot of people didn't know. And fortunately, I learned at an early time in the job. I think a good drill would be to take the guys to a standpipe building on an upper floor, middle floor, and just have them hook up a line and take it to a window or up on the roof and say, okay, guy, charge the line and open a nozzle. And you're going to get quite a surprise when that water doesn't go more than like 10 feet. All right. Because most of these, if the standpipes in the building are not supplied with pumps, it's an issue. And I've had more than a few fires. And I can remember one time I had a fire on a, 15, 16 floor. The chauffeur was hooked up and the fire was out and we were ready to take up. And I said to the chauffeur, all right, Jim, you could shut down the supply line. And he did. And the guy said, okay, we'll take up the line. I said, no, don't take up the line. And the guy, we're in the middle of the living room there, and he's about, I'm going to say 8 feet from the window. I said, Al, do me a favor, open the line. He opens the line. It doesn't even go out the window. The guys were like, what? I go, guys, if there's no pump in the building, it's got to be supplied. All right. So I'm putting it out to all the chauffeurs, all those engine chauffeurs up there. You have to supply the standpipe. If it's a bad fire, boy, we're not doing anything. You need to supply it because I think, I could be wrong, I think the required pressure at the top floor of a standpipe building is 30 pounds. So unless the fire is on a lower floor, you don't have any flow or any pressure. So be mindful of standpipes. Jump over the fence. Religiously, our guys used to jump over the fence, break the Siamese just to make sure that if the fire was today, tonight, tomorrow, it was painted over, that they'd leave them so that we could get them open because they knew how desperate it was to get water into that standpipe. So that's number one. The other one is I want to pass this along to young guys in the firehouse stuff. Your tour starts when you hit the door, when you come into the firehouse. First thing you should do is check the board if they have one there. Any changes? Is the rig out of service? Do we have a new rig? Is there a vacant building? Is it this? Is it that? A lot of companies, they post it at the front door. Second, before you go back to the kitchen for the 8 hour, before you get that first cup of coffee, before you tell the guy from 113, hey, brother, take up, get your gear on the rig. I talked to firemen that retired. We all have the same nightmare that a run comes in and we can't find our gear. I was talking to a guy from Miami.
Holy shit. I can't believe you're saying that. I have that repeatedly.
Everybody, I talked to a guy working Miami Rescue last year in Florida, and he goes, yeah, I still get that one, nightmare that a run comes in and I can't find my gear. Okay. One other thing I want to put out is like, and it seems, I learned it the easy way. We went to a fire in a multiple dwelling, and I hear guys bang, bang, banging at the door. So a senior guy, I think it was a chauffeur, the truck comes up and goes, guys, what are you doing? They go, we're forcing the door. He goes, the door's open, you idiots. Why do you think all the smoke is down to the floor? And I think I just got into 248 then. I'm going, yeah, that makes sense. That's what. Yeah, why would this be forced? And I think it's very simple. If you got a charged floor like that, all you're doing is running down the hall looking for an open door. All right. And the last tip, which actually happened to me too, is we had a fire in the taxpayers on Van Sicklin Avenue, which is right across from the school. Roughly, you might remember them.
Yeah.
We got a fire there. We got senior guys in the truck. So the smoke's pushing under pressure from the store, like in the middle of the block. All right. So the guy stretched a line there. So I'm just kind of hanging out, I don't need me, So I'm going, I take my hand ungloved. I'm going down the stores. About the third one down, the roll down is hot. So I called to the engine. I said, guys, bring the line over here. The truck goes, Lou, what are you talking about? The fire's over here. I said, listen, bring the line over here. 103, do me a favor. Cut these locks over here. He cuts those locks. Throws the fire comes roaring out. It was front to rear. It's that simple sometimes, all right? Putting your hand on the gate. I mean, the basements are a little different because sometimes, there's nothing between the boiler and the heat and the grates and the floor for the basements, but it might work there too. But it's that simple, brothers. Put your hand on the metal and you might, it could, taxpayers,
could smoke out of everywhere.
It could be from one end of the street to the other.
Right.
So,
It's a good
those
tip.
are my tips of the day.
Great job. Dude, you're freaking me out with that nightmare thing because I must have that 3 times a week, man.
It's very close to that time, my friend.
This guy's got a lot. I think Cap's got a lot of them tonight, bro.
What's that?
You know what time it is, Pete. Give it to him.
Cap, you know what time it is too? Because it's time for the old school tip of the day.
Yep. Okay, so some very basic stuff that you can say. I got a couple of 1 or 2 engine things, 1 or 2 truck things. Is what is this here? How stretching? Oh, so if you're stretching a line down the street, be careful that you don't get the butts caught on tires or the curb, and stretch it down on the opposite side of the building so you can go in without glass coming down. Guys stand in front of the building under the windows, the glass comes down. If you're standing fast, stay back from the building. Simple little thing like this. Cellar fires, and when you're in a private dwelling area or even brownstones, always look for that smoke coming from the side, coming up from, or if you're a taxpayer, the floor is hot, you got a fire below you. If you don't see anything coming out, then you got to be concerned about that concrete floor collapsing. If you're in the truck and you got the rope, you go into the roof. Okay, it's a 6-story building. Part of your size up is, I got 6 stories. So now you got 150-foot life rope. You get to the building, now in Manhattan, the building could be 200 feet deep. Your substantial object is 70 feet back. So you're already 70. So you might be, if you had to lower someone down, you're dangling 20 feet. Something to be aware of. Yeah, you can rectify that by maybe, if you have time, to cut open the hole in the roof and tie it around a beam, something like that. But the one thing that you have to do is 2 things. Number 1, ask questions. I don't care if you're a probie with 1 day on the job or your last day, 35 years. You're always learning on this job. Evolutions are changing, buildings are changing, materials are changing. When I first got on, the guys didn't wear masks, and it was right around the time when they started introducing plastics into the job. And the old timers, I can't take a feed no more. Well, it's because of plastics. We used to go in, if you saw smoke, you never hit it. 10 years later, every fire was black smoke. Black smoke in the 70s meant it was an arson job. They were using carbon-based accelerants. Now with the thermopane windows and plastics, everything's black today. Every fire, black smoke. You get into that hallway, the project, something that's door or apartment's open, the hallway's hot, it's black. You might have to hit that smoke a little just to cool it down so you can advance. But probably the best advice I can tell anyone is always ask questions. You're on the rig, you're coming back, you see something in the building. How would I get there if I was the roof man? What would the nozzle mean? How would I stretch? You're the control man. This is probably one of the most important things. The guy in the engine who's the control man usually says, fuck, I'm not going to get in there. Well, you pull up, you've got to estimate how far you are from the front of the building, how many lengths. You want to know, there's a well. Well, how you get on your radio, whatever engine control to the officer, do we have a well? How far is it from the front door to the stairwell? It could be 2 lengths, could be a half length. These are some of the things you got to know to estimate your stretch. And you always want to have at least a length on the fire floor. Flake it out whether you got to go up the stairs, because the worst thing in the fire department is stretching short. And I want to bring in the Kevin Kane fire, which I was first due at. We were down to 4-man engines, and we get this top floor fire, and 290 was first due, 236 was second. Everybody was out that would have normally been there. So we go up the line, we get into our fire department, we got a full room of fire, and I remember looking back and I see 236's line. They're going to the adjoining apartment, which L-shaped around us. And I see it stretched like a rubber band. And right at that point, boom, a collapse. Mayday, mayday, mayday. We got a fireman down. I thought someone came from the roof, but it happened to be this L-shaped apartment. The first 2 truck was a relocator. They went in, and just before that, I remember saying, we got fire in the cock loft. Transmit a second alarm. And then the mayday happened. They went into the room, they punched a hole in it, and they could see fire out there. And they said, all right, let's get out of this room, get the engine in here. The officer and the ironsman come out. The roof collapses. The ceiling collapsed because it was a weird made building, and Kevin's trapped in there. In the study, he was trapped in there anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. Now think about that. You're burning 1 minute, 2, 3. 236 was trying to turn. The line got hooked up on the floor below, where, if we had a 5th man, that would be his position. If that had happened with a 5th man, we would have been saying this guy didn't do his job. So we actually proved that in a study by a state PESH, I think it was, and it was always a sticker in my head. That if you got to cover your positions, and that was a position we lost, and in my opinion, it cost the life of Kevin Kane. Same thing, it's just little mistakes. 1978, John McKenna, 34 truck. I was at that fire, and they were up on the roof, top floor fire, and they were getting off the roof because the roof was starting to come down, whatever. I don't remember exactly. And he left something, whether it was an irons or a hook, I don't remember. He runs back to get the tool. And a little basic, simple thing. When the roof is compromised, you hang along the edges. He walked right over the house, but when came down on the top floor, got severely burned, and he died on St. Patty's Day, 79, I believe it was. And this Kevin Kane fire, when I saw Kevin out, they had him in a schoolyard waiting for a helicopter to come, and he was burnt just as bad as John. John suffered for 2 or 3 weeks, and I said a prayer right there. I said, this kid's got to go. Take him, Lord. Don't let him suffer. And fortunately, he would have been suffering. He passed away the next day. But little things, little simple things. The butt gets hung up on the stairwell, walking over the soft part on the roof. Like I said, the best point I can give anybody is you ask questions. What's the worst we can say to you? Shut up. You're getting on my nerves, whatever.
Right.
But what happened, I remember when I was in the Bronx one time, and I saw an old salty captain going on. I asked a question, and he goes, kid, let me tell you something. There's 6 of us on this rig. One of us will get it right. And he said to me that day, you ask questions. I don't care how stupid it is. That's the worst we can tell you. Shut the F up. And I teach that to my guys all the time. I don't care what it is. Ask. It could be stupid. It could be a point. And I tell the guys, when we go out to a job, I'm in charge. I'll give you the orders. We get back. We critique it. I don't care if you got 6 weeks in a job. If you point out something and I go, wow, that's the way we should have did it.
Yeah,
I have no problem because it's going to make all of us better at it. And like the guys in 103, like Frank Poser, I remember him saying one time, you're the OV in the truck and you go to a job and, you find your way to the rear or whatever it is. He goes, if you don't second guess that you should have went another way, then you're not a thinking fireman. You just always push yourself to be better, to be more knowledgeable. Because, when I first got on the job, my first year, they lost 11 guys in the city. And as time goes on and, you don't go to a fatal fire, we get lackadaisy. We get a little rusty. And, there was an old saying in 82 and 31, this could be the night. You never know. You go out that door, you ain't coming back. Yep. The more you know, the more you prepare to be ready. Always be ready, even if it's a freaking annoying class 3 all the time or an ERS no contact. Look at that ERS no contact.
Murphy likes to show up, Cap.
Yes, he does. Always be prepared. Ask questions. The more you know, the safer it is for everybody.
Yeah.